Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Behind Her Business. We have a very dear friend of mine today that is our guest. Her name is Shelbi Gehring. She is the owner of a national bookkeeping firm. Shelbi, thank you so much for being here today.
I'm so excited to be here. Thanks for asking me.
Of course. So to give you guys a little context on why I have Shelbi here today, number one, she's my bookkeeper for my business, KJ Marketing Group, okay? And she's the best out there, and I'm being serious. Second, she is my birthday twin. So we just actually celebrated a birthday together. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
So I wanted to have Shelbi on this podcast today because you are the youngest entrepreneur that I know.
Which is wild, by the way.
It is wild. I feel like we're the same age. It's just so weird.
No, I definitely don't feel the youngest, but that is crazy.
But you started your business, what, 26?
Yeah, so okay. I started, I knew I wanted to open up my own business. It came from actually my husband. Mm-hmm. He had already had his business open for a while, and he really gave me kind of that push to like just go on ahead and do it because I knew like financially he could, help on that back end, mm-hmm. and he was the main provider anyways. And then, it just absolutely took off from there. It is absolutely crazy.
It's insane. And I want to go back a little bit. So before you started your bookkeeping business, mm-hmm. We'll get into that. But before you started that, how long were you in corporate, right? You're relatively young. You're 26 years old, probably still trying to figure things out.
Yeah.
Were you always trying to go into bookkeeping? And, kind of what was your experience before you got into your own business?
Yeah. So I was originally a receptionist at a company. It was an IT company in the healthcare industry, and they were great. They definitely I had just had my son, mm-hmm. And so I was 20 years old, and the office manager there, her name is Karen, absolutely took me under her wing and basically gave me a lot of tools that I needed that have helped me drive this business for sure. She taught me a lot. She's an HR guru in my eyes. And but she handled like the payroll side of things and a lot of the the inventory management side. And so she kind of gave me a little bit of taste of like some of the credit card reconciliation portions of things, entering credit cards. And I became like her little assistant for a while and helping her manage certain aspects of it. And then I realized I loved it. Mm-hmm. And I was already kind of having trouble like finding what I really wanted to get into because I was in college whenever we had our son. So once I got that taste of accounting, it just kind of flew from there. And then I became an accounting assistant. And I got hired on at this really amazing plastic surgeon. He gave me an opportunity to really grow with him. And I learned so much. Mm-hmm. At the end of it, before I resigned, I was running a whole accounting whole thing. I was running off of 9 businesses and all different businesses. From his wife was a dermatologist, and he was also he wasn't only just a plastic surgeon. He is probably one of the smartest businessmen I've ever known, even till this day, knowing who all I know. He was very intelligent, and he taught me a lot. He definitely did.
I feel like it's worth its weight in gold when you are able to really, somebody can take you under their wing and show you. And that's what it sounds like to me. Like they showed you, they gave you all of the, I guess, the equipment that you needed to start your own business.
Yeah. So I at first was hired on as an accounting assistant under a manager. And then within he put me on this big project that was with the state of Texas that we were basically doing a sales tax audit. And I had caught this huge discrepancy and that the previous manager hadn't caught. So, and then there were some other backstories, but essentially I ended up taking over the position. And he was absolutely crazy to give me that position.
But you showed what you're worth. That's the thing.
I was like a sponge.
Yes.
I mean, I really was. I was with him for 4 years. I want to say 4 or 5 years at that point. Mm-hmm. And before I resigned, and I soaked up every bit of knowledge that he had in business, because he was more business finance portion. And then with the CPA that I worked with, he was awesome as well. And that taught me a lot of the tax side of things. And then I got my bookkeeper certificate, and then it just kind of rolled from there. And next thing I know, it was a lot of work. I was working over 60 hours a week.
Starting your business or before you started your
No,
business?
working for him.
Okay.
And then once I started my business, that was when now I work full time.
I was going to say now you work 60 hours a week.
Yeah, more than 60. But I love what I do, and I have a great team behind me that truly gives me the ability to keep doing what I love to do.
So how long was it from the moment that you left corporate to starting your business? Was it on a whim? Was it something you were thinking about for years? Like, kind of what propelled you? How long did it take for you to actually take that first step?
Yeah, so I had already been asked whenever I was running the whenever I was the accounting manager there, I had already been asked to kind of do some books like moonlighting, right? But in respect of my employer, because they were the person that had asked me, they had a partnership with my employer, and they wanted me to do some of their other businesses as well that they had. Out of respect of him, I asked him, how he would feel. And he didn't really, I don't think he cared much, but at that point, I was already just kind of hitting my limit as far as like working that many hours. I was exhausted, and having an employer and working that home life balance can be a lot whenever you're trying to also further your career.
Yes.
And so that kind of gave me the push to realize, like, oh, wait, I can do this for other people and for multiple people.
And have more flexibility.
And have more flexibility for my family. And within 6 months of me opening up my business, I had made my full salary of what I was getting paid.
That's insane.
As an accounting manager, which was absolutely crazy.
Where you were in the black from the beginning, right?
Oh yeah.
Am I using that term correctly? My bookkeeping.
I mean, black is kind of like black is like breaking even, right? Green is profitability.
Were you in the green in the beginning?
Oh yeah, because I'm service based.
Yes.
I'm service based, right? There's very little overhead. I obviously you're gonna learn tips and tricks, and you're gonna go through things that you're going to fumble, you're going to fail, you're going to be like, okay, is this even what I want to do?
Yes.
Because it is exhausting.
Well, you better really want to do it if you're
right?
going to start your own business.
If you want to
go, all your time.
I mean, it does. And you have to have some patience with yourself too. You know what I mean? Understanding that you're going to fail, you're going to be stressed, you're going to want to question if this is even what you want to do. It's not easy.
Yes.
And also starting so young with having such a young family, it was definitely hard, know, but I had a really good support system behind me that was really helpful. But I started with, there was no money. I had no startup fees, right? Once I got the service and I got the contracts, there was creating my entity, there was fees like that to start something like that, but it wasn't directly related to the actual service that I was provided.
See, and I think people that are listening to this podcast and they're thinking, what type of service? Because you can be a franchisee, you can have a service-based business, you can have a product-based business, you can do e-commerce. For me as well, having the marketing company, having consulting was part of my service in the beginning. At least for the first few years, I was mainly consulting. We weren't selling any digital product.
Yeah.
I was able to be in the green from day one, being a service-based company. So what is your thoughts on people who, they want to be able to make, because, usually if your product, you're spending all this money on product and then you got to make up for that product and you're looking usually not to make profit for a few years.
Yeah, usually it's like a 2 to 3 year turnaround. If you're not making a profit within, and also I really want to emphasize that this is strictly resell service, resell, right?
Yes,
not just strictly service. If you have a product that you're wanting to put, time and effort into to create, that's going to take extra time. You're not going to see a profit for longer periods of time.
And you have to be okay with that.
And you have to be okay with that. But I also think as an entrepreneur, whenever you're starting up your business, knowing what your profit margins are potentially going to be, right? That we project these figures on the front end. You look at what the economic rate's looking like for that product and the service, what the marketing's looking like for that. There's so many other factors when it comes to opening a business specifically for a product-based service, based resell. And I also think taking into account and setting the price, really looking at that price.
Yes.
Because if you just go with a ballpark number and then you realize your overhead cost or changes and the economy changes, then the cost to actually produce that product increases and it eats your margins, what are you going to do?
See, that's why I prefer service-based.
Yeah.
I want to make
everyone
money
wants
right
to,
away.
right?
But, obviously,
Everyone
there's all
wants
different
to.
types of businesses.
But and for a long time, when I first started this, I completely agreed with that until I started getting some of my product-based clients as well. So as you know, like I specialize in the publishing world, right? It's
authors, right?
So best-selling authors. I have amazing clients. I have probably over 70 authors at this point, and also bookshops. And they do book boxes. And let me tell you, the margins on those book boxes are amazing.
Yeah, because you get to sneak behind the curtain almost.
I
a little bit and
do,
see,
yeah.
Okay, what's a good industry to really put your money into starting a business?
I mean, honestly, I think passion comes really, really behind that, right?
Yeah.
Like I can say, listen, do a digital Etsy, right? Like get a digital product, resell it on Etsy. There's not as many, like your profit margins on those are astronomical. Other than the time it takes to create whatever digital product that like you want to produce. I have one client that does something similar and the profit margins of those are beautiful.
So it's something to think about, guys. Don't listen to me. I'm all about service. I'm going to provide you a service and cut us a check.
But I mean, in a way, it still is service, right? It's just really,
yes.
it's also just really honing down on those figures, which I think comes into play with actually knowing what your numbers are as an entrepreneur and as a business owner. If you just want to do your taxes and, really push your tax strategies and on the front end and, not pay as little, I mean, yeah, we can absolutely offer that. I work with as you know, James with Kobo Tax, he's amazing.
Oh yeah, he is. He's my CPA.
Yeah, he's great.
Yeah.
And we have over 50 clients together. We work very closely together and we build our clients to where taxes aren't as stressful at the end of the year. But if you're not wanting to hone in on your financials and actually be able to, what's the report I always...
Oh my God. Okay, so to tell you guys... So whenever I started the business and Shelbi came on board, she said my bare ass minimum. It was my BAM. I had no idea what a BAM was. I'm like, what is BAM? She's like, what you need to spend to stay in business. So I was constantly asking her my bare ass minimum.
Yeah.
You need to know that. If you're not a business owner, and question, business owners, do they always know that?
Absolutely not.
Okay, so business owners,
absolutely not.
Find out your BAM.
I think they may think that they have an idea, right? But truly, like to keep the doors open of your business, what is the minimum that like you have?
It's going to cost
that's
you.
Going to cost you, and then that's like kind of the foundation to creating those figures of how much you want to resell your products, right? Because then once you know that, then you have at least a good foundation to start and make those decisions. If you don't have your BAM, if you don't know the market that you're in, if you don't even know your product, you know what I mean? I feel like having the conversations with other bookkeepers and other accounting firms and other, CPA firms, whatever's out there, having those conversations and really feeling out the market is really important too.
Well, yeah, and I think also knowing competitively what's being priced.
Yeah.
Because that's something that we've talked about. And it's so funny because I know that there's probably some people that have businesses that are listening to this that have a bookkeeper.
Yeah.
But not all bookkeepers are the same.
They're
I will
not.
say Shelbi was my third and my last. But I will tell you, she'll sit with me and talk about my BAM. She'll talk about what percentage of my revenue should go to payroll.
We do budgeting, yeah.
We do budgeting. I mean, these are things that, and half the time I cancel the meetings, guys, because I don't want to, I run away from Shelbi.
She does. She was scared of me for 2 months.
No more Amazon. But it's important to know this. And so if you're a business owner, like these are the things, I think it's important for us to talk about these things and be very open with them.
Yeah.
What is the one thing that you see most businesses have, what's the biggest mistake that they make when it comes to their monthly budgeting?
Okay, I'm going to say that, well, and you know me because I will tell it to you straight, right?
Yes.
There have been many times that we've had some really rough conversations that you probably did not like me very much.
No, I know.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But that's not my job.
But they need it to be had.
Exactly. Like my job isn't to hold your hand. Obviously I will while I'm giving it to you straight. But Ignorance. I do.
Yes.
I think that like hiding from what is actually going on in your business can really make or break you.
Yes.
I will also say that like growth is very scary. You can absolutely grow too big too soon. But also just really looking at those figures and also sitting down with someone who can explain it to you. Because if you don't know the difference between a profit and loss, and if you can't even read your balance sheet, then there's a problem.
Yes.
Right? Like you have to know what's going on. You have to know exactly like where you want to go to.
Yeah.
Right? Like we can't get to an end zone and get to a play and complete it if we don't even have a goal in mind.
So what are the telltale signs that a company needs somebody like you? Some people, they just, do their quarterly taxes and they wait to the end of the year. When is it when you're like, you know what, you need somebody like me? You need a bookkeeper to come in, have monthly meetings. Like when does a business need that?
I think it depends on the owner, right?
Okay.
There's like two facets to it, correct? Like it depends on the owner and what they will actually put into it. A lot of this, I can give numbers, I can give projections, I can give all this data and produce all this time and work for an owner. But if they're not willing to sit down and actually read it and actually make decisions off of that, then monthly will never work for them.
Yep, that's true.
Right? It will never, you
get out what you put in,
yes,
basically.
Exactly. And I think also it's very fair for me to say, like, I am not, as you know, I'm not the cheapest bookkeeper out there. There are absolutely bookkeepers out there that will do data entry reconciliation for, different pricing. We're all different. We're at different levels. I am a little bit more on the higher end of bookkeeping because I dabble with accounting and finance and stuff like that and tax projections. But we can do all this work. But if you don't want to sit down and actually look at it, then monthly's never going to work.
There's no point.
There's no point. And I will also say, on the flip side of that, right, even if you don't want to put in the time and effort to read these financials and actually talk about them and go through them, tax-wise, even if just you want to have someone to stay on top of your taxes, and if you have a lot of movement coming in and out, I definitely recommend getting someone. Because it gets a second pair of eyes, right? How many times have I come to you, hey, listen, this payment was wrong. Someone in your internal ran this payment incorrectly. This payment was never received, and you have someone that's a professional that's finding these. That's looking
at these. Yeah, that's your job. That's what you do.
It is what I do.
Yes.
Yeah, and having someone to support that is, I think, crucial.
You said something that really stood out to me was you're not the cheapest.
I'm not.
I think that as entrepreneurs, if you are providing a service and you're providing a stellar service or even like a stellar product, I think we all as entrepreneurs, especially in the beginning of our journeys, maybe you did, I know I did.
I did.
Lowering your to get the client.
Absolutely.
So I'm gonna give you a break because I really want to get the client. We want to build our portfolio.
Yeah.
But once you're in business for a while and you know what you bring to the table, I hate to say it, it's so cliche, but you really do get what you pay for.
You definitely do.
You have to be able to say, okay, this is where I'm going to be because this is the value. And I love that you said that.
Yeah.
Because did that change for you in the beginning when you started to now that you have this experience, you know your worth?
Yeah.
Did that change for you?
I definitely think it did. And I will also say, like, that's probably one of the things that whenever I first opened, I probably didn't do enough research on the bookkeeping and that industry of what the pricing was, right?
Yep.
Like a lot of times pricing is, people don't like to talk about price and they want to keep it, just sliding under and kind of hush-hush. And so I started out, I want to say like my first monthly was maybe like $300, $350, something like that.
And you were probably doing hours and hours of work way past that $300.
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely, if I truly took like my hourly rate at that time, I was probably like $30 an hour. That's not it now.
Yes.
Obviously, but it took time.
Everybody starts that way.
Everyone starts that way.
I feel like we all do.
But I will also say that I think as a business owner, like you had just mentioned, knowing your worth and knowing your value and being willing to say, no, I'm okay. Like, I understand you may not see the value in this, but I know the value of this and I know what I can do for you. But also, on that flip side, comes value, comes expectations. I think
Yes.
we were just talking about this, right? Like the stress of expectations from your clients is just daunting.
Well, we were
sometimes.
talking about that actually on the phone this morning because we were talking about that getting the client is easy. I mean, pitching a client, getting the business is easy, but it's after that. It's putting in the
retainage.
work for it. That's when the real work happens.
Yeah.
And that's where most of the energy, especially if you're a business owner and you're catering, most of the clients, they're going to buy you. I mean, you have the expertise, but a lot of times they're buying you. You have to make sure you have to ultra serve your clients. I mean,
Yes.
that's what they're paying for. They're paying for that one-on-one service.
Mm-hmm.
And if they don't get it, they're going to find somebody else who will give that to them.
There's also a level of like value of not only like wanting to retain your client, but also like truly just wanting to help them.
Yes.
And
There's a
when-
difference in that.
There's a difference, right? Like I really value every single one of my clients, no matter if because I have clients, as you know, like in New York, Colorado, Washington, Wyoming,
You're national,
Utah.
baby.
I am. I'm Florida.
You're international too, though, right?
I do. I do
Okay,
have
yeah.
a Hong
I
Kong
thought so.
client. Yeah. But regardless, with that, I build relationships with these people. I mean, I truly do. I think that's something that I've always started from the beginning, was that I never wanted to get like too big for my britches, right? My
Yes,
quality.
that's a fear of mine too.
It is. My quality of clients, like I never wanted to lose quality over quantity. And I think that's also another big part where like you have to kind of take a step back and realize, okay, do I want to take the next level? Because I'm completely referral based. I do not do any advertising. I know, crazy, right? Advertising, and I have none.
I know. I still haven't coached her. Because honestly, I know you don't need it. And that's part of being a really good advertising firm, right? Knowing when you don't need it.
Yeah, I guess so, right?
You know, I mean-
for me, I really, I put a lot of effort into those relationships, and I think those relationships speak for themselves.
Absolutely.
And because I'm only referral based, I don't take people off the street. And it's not that I'm not willing.
Mm-hmm.
It's just the fact that there's a level of knowledge, I think, that comes when saying, hey, listen, Kristina, I have this great person. They do great business. I think that like, you know, they would be great for your business or whatever that. I think there's a level that comes with that.
Yes.
And the expectations are set there too. So,
Yes.
you know, it's nice, but the expectations can definitely be drowning at point.
So let's pivot for a second because I want to get into the mother in you.
Oh, goodness gracious.
Shelbi has you're amazing. I mean, you have 2 kids.
I do.
You have one son. What is he, 12?
He's about to turn 11.
Okay, I knew he was around Braxton.
Braxton. He's turning 11 on the 27th.
Yes, and so and then your daughter, you have a story
We do.
for your daughter.
Yes.
So tell us about how that came into play.
So we're in the middle of adopting our daughter. We've had her since she was 4 days old.
So wonderful.
She is the sassiest little thing you have ever met in your life. But yeah, no, motherhood's hard, especially owning a business, and combining that, because, you know, motherhood's a full-time job and it's
full-time.
itself.
It's our real job. Let's just be honest.
Right? It's the core job for us. At the end of the day, our businesses can absolutely tank and go in the hole, and we're still a mother.
Yes.
We're still taking care of those little ones, and that's hard sometimes.
How do you find, I try to be more mindful because at first, you know, I'm working late.
Mm-hmm.
My daughter, she's 10. She's old enough to say, Mom, are you done with work yet?
same.
My 2-year-old son actually came to me the other day and said, get off my phone.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you balance that? Because I know it's tax season right now. So you're
yeah.
insane.
It is.
But how do you balance that? And do you balance it? I mean, let's be honest here.
No.
It's hard.
No, I don't balance. I think Shonda Rhimes was the one who said that either I'm a great businesswoman, but I'm failing as a mother, or like I'm a great mother, but my business is failing. And there's so much truth in that statement. Like,
Yes.
I truly don't believe that there's ever a true balance, that you can truly like do both, right? And I'm not saying that there's probably women out there, way better women than me, that can, but I have not found that balance. I try, you know, we all try. We all try to be there for our kids and make them like great human beings, and growing up in this crazy world that we have going on, like, it's hard.
Yeah, it really is hard. And I still haven't found the balance either.
Yeah.
I mean, I actually spent some very mindful time playing trucks and cars with my kids last night. And it was just so nice just to
Yeah.
sit there. I mean, the 10 minutes felt like an hour, but
Literally,
I did it.
though. I don't know why it's so hard.
Why is playtime
Why
so
is playtime so hard to sit
Can
there?
you guys answer this question? Why is playtime so hard?
Like, I don't know if I'm just like a bad mom, but
No,
like
you're not. I think we
it
all
is
feel
so
like that.
hard to. I can color. I can color.
I love to color.
I will absolutely color.
I'll play Connect 4 all day.
I'll play games. I'll play games. I'll color. My daughter loves doing like the fake makeup because she loves watching. She'll sit with me while I do my makeup.
Yeah.
We'll do makeup, right? But playing like
The actual play and the actual
play. My
yeah.
son is very creative. I mean, when I tell you this boy will just play with himself for a full hour with his toy, and it's amazing to see, right? But whenever he like wants me to like act or like go with it,
It takes every
such a
inch
hard
of your
time.
being.
It does. I'm like, okay,
That's exactly
let's
how
put
I
on, let's try to do this. It is. It's hard, but I will also say that I think there is a importance in our kids seeing strong women.
Absolutely.
Though, too.
Absolutely.
Right? Like, my husband is an amazing husband, but he also owns his own business. And, we both talk about having trouble balancing that. And I think also, like, because we're both running our own businesses, we're very separate in our businesses. He makes his decisions, I make my decisions. Now we do, like, have a really good foundation, and we can come together and talk about the woes and the hard days, and we'll ask for advice. Sometimes we'll give advice when the other really doesn't
When it's
want
asked
it,
for.
right? Or like whenever I'm like, are you sure that's the way you want to do this? And then he's been telling me for probably like the past 5 months that I needed to hire another bookkeeper, and it's very hard for me because it's not about the fact that I don't think I can find someone. It's the fact that is someone going to care about my clients as much as I do?
That's always the issue, especially when you're a small business.
Yeah.
And you hire.
And I'm also dealing with small businesses,
Yes.
right? Because there's a lot of questions that come up with this. There's not a lot of, direct feedback saying, hey, whenever you open your business, you're going to first start this way. Depending on your business, you're going to do X, Y, Z.
Oh, no.
Set up these
it's a
entities.
shit
You're gonna
show.
do this.
It's going to be a shit show, at least for the first few years. And you have to be okay with that.
But I also think, like, finding the people and getting connected with the people that actually know what's going on is very important too.
Yes.
Right? Like, you may be able to do a great service and a great product. I would never sit here and be like, oh, let me just do my own marketing and advertising. I don't know crap about marketing.
You
and
go to the
advertising.
expert.
I go to an expert.
Yes.
Yeah. So, and I think that's, a really important thing too when starting your business, knowing where your limitations lie.
Well, and I think there's that age-old saying, hire slow, fire fast. I do think that you will find that person. There are people out there that will be so passionate about your business. And I'm very lucky in my business at KJ Marketing Group is that I've found people that actually love this business as much as I do. And I think that is like worth its weight in gold.
Completely agree.
And I think with you've kind of gone, it's just part of being a business owner. You're going to hire people. But I think maybe just making sure that person is the right person for the job. I think we kind of get our emotions in play with this, and we hold on to people too long. And we realize later on maybe that wasn't the best move.
Yeah.
I think we've all done it.
I can agree with that.
Yes.
Yeah, and it's really hard because I will tell you, I would not be where I'm at in my business without my husband and my 2 employees that I have right now.
Yes.
I mean, they truly are, like, when I say like the backbone, I have the knowledge and I have the relationships and stuff like that. But the admin side, they help me keep up with the bookkeeping. Like, they're both so all of my 2 employees are bookkeepers, like they're certified. But it's hard. It's hard letting go, and it's hard adding to a team that's already structured. I mean, I've had one employee for the full 3 years, and then my other one, she just hit 2 years in September.
Nice.
So,
Very nice.
My retention, I hold on to them tight. I do. I don't let them go unless like they want to go, or unless like it just does not make sense.
So tell me, have you ever fired a client?
I have. I have. And it's really hard whenever, like, you want to help someone more than they want to help themselves. I had to fire a physician once, and it was more in the sense, because, obviously I was in the medical industry for a while, so I have a lot of knowledge in that. She was probably like one of the first 20 clients I had probably gotten at that point, and she is a super sweet woman. I would still talk to her if I saw her on the street till this day. But just the practices that she was running as far as like the business side of things, they just weren't in line with what should be happening. And she wasn't giving me the data I needed, right? Like, I can only work with so much that I receive. And I also, as you know, I'm very upfront about it.
What you do is a two-way type communication.
is.
So if you're only getting one way, it's just, it's just not a good fit, basically, right?
And that happens. And sometimes I'm not a good fit, right? I can be very upfront about certain things, and some people can get very offended by that. But I also set the standard of that relationship and that communication in my consults. Yes. I mean, we do an hour consult for a reason. And it's not only, and I do them like through Zoom. I want to see my client's face. I want them to see my face, because if you get any type of vibe, or if you don't, care for something I say, or if
you want to be able to see facial expressions.
I do. I read people. I will absolutely read a situation very quickly. But it's just that really big communication factor, and I don't totally believe in vibe. So if we're just not catching it, then that is what it is. I think I had one client. She wasn't even actually a full client. It was during a consult. It was the only time that I did not like the vibe of a consult, and she didn't like my vibe either. And I literally,
and
respectfully so, we got 30 minutes into it, and it was just a very abrasive conversation, because she just didn't see what I could give for her, and which, fair. If you don't see the value, girl, like, it's okay.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's perfectly fine. But I was like, hey, I just don't see us working well together. Like, how do you feel about that? Like, I'm not feeling that, like, you see the value in my service, and if you don't, that's fine. But, like, I want your feedback. She was like, yeah, I actually completely agree.
Yeah, and I think it's okay, business owners, to know that and to have those conversations. Have them early, because 9 times out of 10, it probably would be a problem client.
Absolutely.
If you feel that in the beginning, make that decision not to go forward.
Yeah, I even gave her a refund.
Absolutely.
I did, because my consults are $125 for that consult, and I did. I gave her a full refund. I was like, you didn't get any information, because that's a big thing too, is like, maybe I may be out of your budget, and that's okay. There are excellent bookkeepers out there.
Absolutely. There's
that
tons.
Can absolutely give you information. There's just difference in quality, quantity, communication. But regardless, I mean, it's okay. It's okay to have those tough conversations.
So before we wrap this up, I have 2 questions for you.
Okay.
I like to surprise everybody with this question. Number 1,
gracious.
What is your superpower?
My superpower.
We all have one. Entrepreneurs, women, men, like, we all have a superpower. What's yours?
You know what? I am going to tell you this because it's related to my business, but also because I keep track of it. From tax strategizing, like with my clients and stuff like that, even up to yesterday, I am at, in just a year's time, for like 2024 taxes, I'm up to $4.23 million in tax savings that I've saved my clients.
So you're the tax saver.
I don't know about
we should
that.
Advertise that, everybody. Tax saver.
But like,
that's your superpower.
I would definitely say, like, and also let me also say that does not mean that every client will be able to have massive tax strategizing. There does get to a point where we can't do anything else.
Yeah.
We just can't.
Legally, that's it.
Yeah, one of my clients, we have maxed out all of the strategizings that we could possibly come up with. But yeah, last night with my Hong Kong client, we saved her a good amount of money as well, and I was able to add that onto it. So
I love it.
Super fun, super exciting. I would say probably, like, for business, that would be my superpower, and then for like personal life, because there's a difference.
Absolutely.
Sorry. There's a difference in, like, business Shelbi is completely different than personal Shelbi. You've seen both sides.
Yes.
Because in business, I'm very straightforward. I'm very like, this is just matter of fact. This is how we do things. But on the personal side, I am very roll with the flow. I don't, like, if you want to go do something, I'm like, okay, well, let's go do it. Not much, like, bothers me. So I guess on the personal side, it would be, like, the emotional intelligence. Like,
Yes.
I feel that I have a very good understanding and the emotional intellect that comes with
It's very true. Shelbi always knows when I'm about to cry. She can tell.
or whenever you try to, like, not talk to me for 2 months, and I'm like, yeah, that's not going to happen.
Okay,
It's not
second,
happening.
how do people get in touch with you if they want to, talk to you? If they may be needing some help with their business, how do they get in touch with you?
I do have I have a website, obviously. It's everything like bookkeeping.com. That also has a link to like a Google form that they can fill out. The best way, though, I would say would probably just emailing my assistant, which is Amber. She's great.
We'll put
She's
that
amazing.
on screen.
Amber will essentially get the consult set up. My consults last an hour, but I also book out probably like at least I'm usually booked about a month and a half, 2 months in advance.
Awesome.
I mean, look how long it took us to get this booked.
Yes, exactly.
Have we been
So if
wanting
you
to do
need
this
help,
since like November
we
or
have.
October? Yeah.
So if you need help, anybody who has a business, you need help with bookkeeping, you need some advice, you need a consult, Shelbi is your girl. So just know that. But no, I really want to thank you for being on today. It was a pleasure, and I hope that everybody's that's listening, learned a little bit about Shelbi. If you're looking at starting a business, don't be afraid to do it. We have a young entrepreneur here. And, if
it's scary, but don't be too afraid.
Absolutely. And any questions on business, we hope that we were able to answer that too when it came to the bookkeeping side. So I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
It.
And thank you everybody for joining. If you want to see this on YouTube, check out our YouTube channel and we'll be in touch.